Out here, where the sun bleeds into the earth and the wind carries stories older than any blueprint, time doesn't tick. It drifts. It lingers. It waits for you to listen. This isn't just land. It's a memory, stretching wide under a sky that forgets nothing. And in the middle of it all, not a mansion, not a cabin, but something born of both. A home made from sweat and sky. A structure that hums with quiet strength, where steel ribs meet adobe skin, and the bones of a barn become the soul of a sanctuary. They call it a barndominium. But really, it's a love letter to the Southwest, written in weathered wood and sun-warmed stucco. Pages bound in silence, punctuated by cactus thorns and hummingbird wings. Did you know that 70% of homeowners feel their space doesn't reflect their style? Don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe and start designing a home that truly feels yours. You won't hear it shout. You'll feel it beneath your feet in the stillness of dusk, in the way shadows gather like old friends at your doorstep. It's not trying to be modern. It's not trying to be rustic. It simply is, alive, rooted, watching, and just maybe, you've been hearing its voice in your dreams. So, step in. Breathe deep. There's something waiting for you here, something ancient, meeting something new. Welcome to the Southwest, where the horizon stretches like a canvas and every color feels like it was mixed by the hands of time itself. Here, the air is dry, but rich, with stories, with silence, with a sense that something greater lives beneath the dust. This is not a place you simply build in. It's a place you ask permission from, and when you do, the land answers, with open arms and warm winds, with mesas that stand like old sentinels, watching, remembering. Barndominiums in this part of the world don't shout for attention. They don't try to rise above the desert. They sink into it, like bones returning home, like stories circling back to the beginning. Their walls might wear the color of sun-baked clay, their frames, the honesty of exposed beams and rust-kissed steel. But it's the way they settle into the landscape, as if they were always meant to be here, that gives them life. It's not just adobe, not just reclaimed wood, not just iron hinges or tin roofs. It's the feeling of something remembered, something lived in, a home that feels like it grew from the soil, not dropped onto it. They don't merely reflect the Southwest. They are the Southwest, woven with the threads of simplicity and soul. A beautiful home is not a dream, it's an art, and you're the artist. Subscribe and start creating spaces that speak to the soul. And as you stand inside one, as the wind whistles through rough-hewn posts and the scent of sage drifts past your window, you don't think about floor plans. You think about belonging. Because here, a home isn't just shelter. It's spirit. It's memory. It's dust and dreams, molded into form. Every line, every texture, every worn-in groove of a Southwestern Barndominium carries the weight of something older than architecture. Because here, design is not decoration. It's memory, built into matter. The earth-toned stucco walls? They don't just hold the structure, they echo the clay that once cradled Navajo pottery, the red dust that still clings to boots and prayers. They wear the warmth of the desert like skin. And the beams, rough, exposed, honest, they rise like the ribs of an old cowboy chapel, holding up the roof like outstretched arms offering shelter to whatever stories pass through. Beneath your feet, the floors don't shine with polish. They glow with the quiet pride of reclaimed wood, each plank a fragment of a forgotten barn, a piece of the past finding new breath. Look closer. Woven fabrics drape the spaces like gentle whispers, patterns passed down, colors that carry meanings, threads dyed with sun and tradition. Terracotta tiles curve like riverbeds under bare feet, and every cactus along the walkway feels like a guardian, soft in shadow, sharp in truth. Even the light behaves differently here. It falls softer, as if it knows it's touching something sacred. Transform your home. Transform your life. Subscribe now, and let's create spaces you'll love forever. This isn't just good taste. It isn't trend. It's the soul of a region translated into walls and windows. Because in the Southwest, your home doesn't just say who you are, it remembers who came before you. And every design choice, every warm tone, every hand-forged detail whispers the same thing. This isn't just design. It's identity. It's legacy. It's a quiet kind of truth, the kind you don't need to explain, only feel. But what makes it so timeless? Why do people trade skylines for silence? Why do they come from the pulse of New York, from the rain-slick streets of Portland, to chase something so still, so sun-warmed, so unapologetically raw? Is it the romanticism? The idea of waking up where the horizon isn't blocked by concrete, but kissed by light? Is it the freedom to build not up, but out, to breathe deeper, slower? Or maybe it's something older, something we don't have a word for anymore, something tribal, spiritual, a rhythm buried beneath our modern lives just waiting to be heard again. These homes, they aren't caught in time, they're free from it. They welcome you with wide-open floor plans that feel like exhalations. Spaces that don't confine but invite. Skylights don't just brighten rooms, they frame sunsets like sacred paintings, turning every evening into an altar of color and quiet. And the patios, they aren't just for morning coffee. They're front-row seats to monsoon theater, where lightning dances across the desert floor and thunder rolls like ancestral drums. It's in these contrasts, steel and clay, openness and intimacy, luxury and dust, that the real beauty lives. Because this isn't about escape, it's about return to something that was never lost, just forgotten. So when people leave the noise behind and plant themselves here, they're not just building a home, they're rediscovering something. In the wind, the light, and the silence between their heartbeat and the horizon. Something that feels like a truth you've always known, but couldn't name. Until now. You see, a Southwestern Barndominium doesn't shout. It sings. Not loud, not proud, but soft, like wind slipping through mesquite branches. Like a song you almost remember from childhood, one that plays just under the surface of your day. And if you listen close enough, it'll tell you a secret. That this design, this way of building, this way of being, was never meant to stand out. It was meant to belong. To the land. To the rhythm of sunrises and slow afternoons. To stories older than floor plans and Pinterest boards. Because here the beauty doesn't come from showing off. It comes from fitting in. From being humble in the face of the desert's immensity. There was a family once who bought a rusted-out steel barn near Santa Fe. No roof, no plumbing, nothing but bones. And yet, they didn't tear it down. They listened. They kept the frame, honored the lines, added Adobe walls that breathed, a fireplace made of river stone, a reading nook where the hayloft used to be. Now, that home doesn't look new. It looks right, like it's been waiting there for decades, patiently weathering the wind, becoming part of the silence. That's the magic. A Southwestern Barndominium doesn't demand attention. It earns reverence, because it's not trying to escape its surroundings. It's becoming one with them. So when you walk into one, when you run your hand across a sun-warmed beam, when you smell the sage on the breeze, you don't think about design trends or resale value. You feel it. The quiet welcome. the whispered song, and the secret it's been holding just for you. And here's the twist. You don't have to live in Arizona to carry this feeling in your bones. You don't need to stand beneath a saguaro or wake to coyotes howling across open plains to know what it means to belong somewhere deeper. Because this isn't about geography. It's about memory and imagination. You just need a design that remembers where it came from. A structure that honors the dust and wind, the warmth and silence, the soul of something timeless, and dares to dream where it's going next. You could be in the middle of Texas, the hills of California, or a quiet edge of the Midwest, and still build a space that breathes with the same wild peace. The truth is, Southwestern Barndominiums aren't tied to coordinates. They're tied to intention, to choosing honesty over perfection, warmth over shine, story over style. So if you're standing on a piece of land,